Managing agricultural pollution. When you hear the word pollution, you may think of car smog, toxic waste, acid rain, or trash on the side of the road. But poorly managed agricultural systems can be a source of pollution as well. Pollution is any substance or energy form introduced into an environment that harms or disturbs that environment. Pollution can occur naturally, such as ash from a volcanic eruption, or it can be caused by human activity. Pollution can be classified into 6 types: air, land, water, thermal, noise, and radioactive. The U.S. government has special agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, that help conserve the environment by monitoring and managing pollution caused by human activities. The United States Department of Agriculture, or USDA, has its own in-house research department and conservation agency. The Agricultural Research Service, or ARS, employs geneticists, microbiologists, soil scientists, agronomists, hydrologists, and many other types of researchers and research technicians to study and improve all areas of agriculture. The Natural Resources Conservation Service deals with conservation. Across the nation, NRCS agents from field offices help citizens find solutions to problems that affect soil, water, air, plants, or animals. The NRCS also helps landowners find ways to conserve their natural resources. Agricultural sources of pollution come from activities such as plowing and planting, fertilizing, pesticide spraying, irrigation, and confined animal feeding operations, or CAFOs. Sediment, excessive nutrients, pesticides, salts, and pathogens are all pollutants that come from these sources. When wind and water carry soil particles from an area like a farm field to a nearby body of water, sedimentation occurs. Here, soil scientists are working with the farmer to measure sediment in runoff water from a cornfield. The sediments could potentially cloud a nearby water source, reduce the amount of sunlight that is available to aquatic plants, and clog the gills of fish. Sedimentation can be avoided if farmers and ranchers monitor the flow rate of runoff water and practice farming methods that minimize soil erosion, like contour farming and no-till planting. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium are nutrients that can be found in fertilizers, manure, sludge, and irrigation water, which are all applied to enhance agricultural production. These nutrients can be washed from agricultural systems into bodies of water where, in excessive amounts, they can cause overgrowth of algae. As the algae decomposes, it depletes the water's dissolved oxygen, which can kill fish, cause water to have a foul taste and odor, and inhibit recreational activities like swimming and boating. Agricultural producers can implement management plans to time fertilizer applications and control and monitor application rates. Close analysis of nitrogen levels in waste that is applied to cropland and pastures is also important. Pesticides can also pollute water runoff and in turn pollute adjacent water sources. Farmers can limit pesticide use with integrated pest management techniques, which includes requesting advice from crop consultants who scout for pests. An overlooked source of agricultural pollution is the fertilizer and pesticide runoff from aggressive lawn care practices by enthusiastic homeowners. These products are available over the counter to millions of individuals who may be poorly informed about the environmental dangers of overuse. One way farmers can keep crop field water runoff from affecting nearby water sources is by implementing a tailwater recovery system. The system captures and stores water lost at the end of a field and then pumps it back into the irrigation system. Tailwater recovery's major benefit is recycling irrigation water. Irrigation can cause soil to have a high salt content, or salinity, as water percolates to the surface and evaporates. High salinity affects a plant's ability to draw water from the soil. Salt pollution from irrigation can be reduced by efficient irrigation systems like this low-elevation spray application. Both hydrologists, who study the distribution and conservation of water, and agronomists, who study soil management and crop production, work with farmers to find these types of solutions. When farmers and ranchers confine livestock animals to limited areas, they can more easily feed and maintain them. However, these areas can become major sources of animal waste. Most of the waste produced is biodegradable, but potentially dangerous components of the waste, such as nitrogen, microorganisms, salts, and medicinals, can still persist and run off into bodies of water. Waste can also seep into and contaminate groundwater. This discharge can be controlled by fencing pastured animals away from direct contact with major water sources and by storing and managing facility waste with a waste management system. There are many ways to manage waste. Direct application of solid and liquid waste to the land is a common method of recycling the waste. Solid wastes can be used as fertilizers, soil conditioners, or erosion control when applied in controlled amounts. Solid waste is collected in a pen or collection area and may be spread out and dried before storage. It is then spread on fields and worked into the soil to prevent groundwater pollution. Liquid waste can be used to fertilize pastures when it is pumped through an irrigation system or spread from a fertilizer wagon set up for this purpose. Lagoons and ponds are structures that can be used to remove waste. A lagoon is a deep basin that holds wastewater and contains microbes or bacteria to digest the waste, a process called bioremediation. Oxidation ponds are aerated or given a source of oxygen because they contain bacteria that need oxygen in order to digest waste. The bacteria help purify the wastewater so that it can be recycled back into the environment, usually for irrigation. Microbiologists and other researchers who study soil and water science can help farmers solve animal waste dilemmas. And now, let's explore the core. Treatment facilities restore wastewater by using microorganisms to break down organic and inorganic compounds that are found in the water. Microbes use these compounds as food that enables them to grow and reproduce. They produce carbon dioxide and water as byproducts of the process. Let's look at the reproduction rates of two types of bacteria. Heterotrophic bacteria consume the organic components of wastewater as food, while autotrophic bacteria break down the inorganic components of wastewater in order to produce their own food. Most heterotrophic bacteria generate new offspring about every 15 minutes, while most autotrophic bacteria generate offspring about every 48 hours. These single-celled bacteria reproduce asexually by binary fission, which means that the cell simply divides into two new genetically identical cells. Let's look at how binary fission is an example of exponential growth. One cell divides into two new cells. Notice that this new number of cells is 2 to the power of 1 cells. First division, power of 1. These two new cells divide into 4 cells, or 2 to the power of 2 cells. Second division, power of 2. These 4 cells divide again into 8 cells, or 2 to the power of 3 cells. Third division, power of 3, and the pattern continues. So if you want to find the number of bacteria, B, that are present in a population after n number of reproductive cycles, you can use the equation B equals 2 to the power of n. Note that 2 is used as the base because the number of cells doubles during each round of binary fission. Growth at a rate of 2 to the power of n is exponential growth. With this exponential growth, how many bacteria will be produced from either a single heterotrophic bacterium or a single autotrophic bacterium after 2 days? In order to calculate growth of a population, we have to know how many reproductive cycles are completed during a given time period. We find this by dividing the length of the given time period, in this case 2 days, by the time of one reproductive cycle, which is different for each bacterium. Heterotrophic bacteria reproduce about every 15 minutes, so we first have to change days to minutes. Before you calculate, always make sure that both the numerator and the denominator are homogeneous. We change the days into hours, which then leads us to change the hours into minutes. There are 48 hours in 2 days and 60 minutes in an hour, so 2 days are equal to 2,880 minutes. If it takes heterotrophic bacteria 15 minutes to reproduce, then in 2 days the bacteria have completed 192 reproductive cycles. So in the equation B equals 2 to the power of n equals 192. Plugging this value into our equation shows that after 48 hours, there are 6.3 times 10 to the power of 57 bacteria present. That's a lot of bacteria. In 48 hours, autotrophic bacteria have completed only one reproductive cycle because each cycle takes 48 hours to complete. N equals 1. Putting this value into the equation, we see that there are only 2 autotrophic bacteria present after 2 days. Today's SAT word is adjacent. Adjacent is an adjective that means being next to or near, sharing a common boundary. In the lesson, we learned that sediments, excessive nutrients, pesticides, and animal waste can all pollute water runoff and in turn pollute adjacent water sources.